and tourists. This is also part of the growth of urban neoliberalism, which reinforce the logics of free markets in the urban planning. And these attractiveness-focused strategies have been widely criticized in the scientific literature for their potential effects, such as gentrification, touristification, commodification of cities, which lead to social fragmentation and the exclusion of poor residents. So based on these observations, it seems important to highlight other types of cultural projects and cultural policies in the city to go beyond the creative city as it has been conceived and developed in the past 20 years. To this end, I propose to focus my presentation on participatory cultural projects, questioning their contribution to the city's cultural vitality and social cohesion. As I mentioned before, I'm a researcher at a public university and I conduct research on the arts in the city. So I'm not a cultural player, I'm not a stakeholder, I'm an independent researcher and I try to analyze the social reality as it is. As a geographer, I pay particular attention to territory. Not in the sense usually in Anglophone literature, but more territory as a social construction, as a portion of space as experienced and lived by the inhabitants, workers and visitors who live there or pass in this portion of space. I therefore question participatory cultural projects in their relationships to territories, to local territories. And for this presentation, my comments are based on an in-depth qualitative investigation involving, on the one hand, interviews with cultural players and with inhabitants and participants to local cultural projects, and on the other hand, on in-situ observation during the projects. And finally, I also carried out a network analysis on the collaborative relations of cultural players at a district level. I will talk about a little bit later. So today I will focus on one case study, the National Center for Dance, Centre National de la Danse in French, so I will call it CND for now. The CND is a public cultural institution dedicated to dance under the authority of the French Ministry of Culture. Since the early 2000s, it has been based in Pantin, in the northeast of Paris, in this larger former administrative center redesigned to welcome the public, as you can see on these two pictures. It is located along the Canal de l'Ourcq in the northeast of Paris. The main missions of the CND are to offer cutting-edge contemporary dance programming with expositions on dance performance, and to provide a range of services and resources to dance professionals, like dance studios, artist in residence programs, financial support, and so on. Its main missions also include cultural mediation and artistic and cultural education. The CND develops various projects aimed at the general public. And arts education holds an important place within the CND project, at least symbolically, with a dedicated department on the promotion of art education projects by the institution, largely in response to the ministry's injunctions in this matter. The main objectives to make are to make dance accessible to all, to contribute to people's well-being through the practice of dance, and to create social links, social ties between people through dance. And the CND is developing a range of arts education projects in schools with the residents, including the Assembly project, which I'm going to explore in more detail in my presentation. So this project, the Assembly project, offers free participatory dance workshops to local residents with the aim of producing collaborative choreographic creations drawn from their own cultures with the support of one artist and one cultural mediator of the CND. And you can see one example of workshop with the picture at the top of the slide. Small groups of around 20 participants, 20 volunteers from Pantin and the surroundings area are formed, and for 6 months, 1 or 2 workshops per month are organized to work, discover and share dance between these 20 volunteers. At the end of a project, some public performances are organized to present the collective choreographic creation to the local audience, like during the event that you can see on the picture at the bottom of the slide. And this event is called 1 kilomètre de danse, so 1 kilometer of dance along the Canal de l'Ourcq in the northeast of Paris. So the Assembly project has an impact on cultural vitality on 4 main scales, and I will detail each one. So first, the project has a strong impact on the well-being of participants at an individual scale, as revealed by the analysis of interviews conducted with them. For them, the project is an emotionally intense experience with intimate memories shared during workshops and collective massage, for example. And these moments are accompanied by the CND team and give participants a sense of care, a sense of pampering. For participants, Assembly is like a bubble, a space-time for themselves. They value this space-time all the more given the societal context as they experience it, where everything is fast-moving, everything is individualized, and aseptic, with no physical contact between individuals. And this individual benefits in terms of well-being is largely linked to the collective dimension, to the collective experience of the Assembly project. Thus, participants express that it's the connection with other group members, the collective sharing of emotions and intimate moments, the integration of a caring group that brings them joy, pleasure, care, and well-being. And you can see one example with this testimony of one Assembly project participant. The project gave me great joy, the pleasure of a collective of dancing together. It sounds a bit cliché, but that's what it is. It was very intense to be able to participate and to be accepted as part of a group without holding back. For me, that was very important. It's a very endearing project because the relationship was very intense with all the participants. So the collective dimension is very important in the well-being of participants of this project. And this brings us to the second scale of impacts of the Assembly project, the collective one. And the project allows for the establishment of friendly relationships between the participants, which contribute to the development of social ties, social links between the inhabitants of the area. The long-term nature of the project during 6 months, the mutual commitment inside a collaborative creation, and finally the convivial moments such as shared meals during the project are conducive to the establishment of relationships, some of which continue beyond the end of the project. And you can see as well another example I think I have made some friends. The dance we have created together represents a patchwork of shared dances, and so we are linked to each other through this dance. The third scale of the project effect is public space. For participants, dance workshops and public performances make them feel more comfortable in public space, more legitimate, and more at home in it. You can see one example with this participant sharing his experience. It's about taking possession of public space and feeling legitimate in it. I mean, it's your home, it's our home. You can do something there, you can dance there. I think that's really important. It's not just about the final performance, it's about thinking out of the city space differently so that everyone has access to it. And these public performances also evoke the capacity of dance to reveal spaces and enrich them with an artistic and emotional signification for participants, but also for spectators, for passers-by. And the fourth and last scale of impact of the Assembly project is the local territory. So as I defined earlier as a social construction, local territory as social construction, participants talk about the project to their families and neighbors. They act as representatives, as ambassadors for the project, encouraging other residents to get involved in the following years. This helps spread the project throughout the city. And one example with these participants, I sent out invitation to lots of people telling them to come to the performance. And now I'm advertising for next year, telling people to sign up, telling them it's worth it. In fact, I'm wondering whether I shouldn't ask for a commission for all this communication. In addition, this project allows for the stimulation of interaction between local fields of actions and foster the openness of culture to the residents, as the CND is associating and working itself with diverse cultural, social and educational organizations in the development of a project. For example, to seeking out participants, hosting workshops and performances, and so on, as it is the case on this picture, with a public performance in another cultural and social venue of the territory. And to conclude about the impact on the local area, the CND is located, as I said before, on the banks of the Canal de l'Ourcq, which is a cultural district with a strong spatial agglomeration of cultural venues, as you can see on the map. On this map, each cycle represents a cultural venue located in the district, and the size of cycles varies according to the number of cultural venue at each location. So you can see the CND is just here and is surrounded by a lot of other cultural venues. And these cultural venues spatially agglomerate in this portion of the city, develop some collaborative projects and form a dense network of relationships, as you can see on this network graph. On this network graph, each cycle represents one organization, one cultural organization located in the districts of the Canal de l'Ourcq, surrounding the Canal de l'Ourcq. And each line represents a collaborative relation between two of them. And the size of the cycle varies depending on the number of collaborative relation of each organization, of each cultural organization. And the color is indicated the type of cultural venues, creation-oriented, dissemination-oriented, or over in red. So about the lines in the network graph, this take different forms. these relationships take different forms, like cross-communication strategies for cultural projects, or partnerships for the production and dissemination of a cultural project, for example. So this network helps spread and disseminate a project like Assemblée within the local territory, and thus it's stimulating the cultural vitality of this Canal de l'Ourcq district. So in conclusion, Assemblée is an example of participatory cultural project that contributes to a culture of proximity and therefore foster the cultural vitality of neighborhoods and the city by making arts and culture a component of the daily life of local communities. This culture of proximity invites to consider the active cultural involvement of citizens through amateur arts practices, arts education, and not just consider the public and the residents as spectators and ticket buyers. It permits to overcome the discriminating divisions between arts considered as fine versus craft, professional versus amateur, formal versus informal, and so on. It also permits to recognize with equal dignity the diverse cultures that make up cities and societies. In the context of today's profound socio-ecological tensions, a project like Assemblée contributes to the fight against the social isolation of local residents and suggests ways of tackling environmental issues, notably through the long-term nature of the project and its local embedding, which limits the mobility of artistic teams and the mobility of audiences, for example. However, of course, it's just one project with a small audience, and to have a real impact on socio-ecological dynamics of the city and the society in general, it needs to be accompanied by a multiple of other projects with the same philosophy. And I thank you for your attention.
Czy ktoś z Państwa ma może pytanie
Do we have any questions
mówcy?
to Basil?
Jak już wiecie,
As you know-
bo już chciałem powiedzieć, że nie pójdziemy szybciej, jak nie będzie
Okay,
pytań,
I
to ja
wanted
zacznę
to.
zadawać.
I was about to say
proszę
that
bardzo.
I have a question, but it seems that someone else does.
Thank you, a great presentation, and especially like these measures and scales you represented. But a simple question: how many people in total took part in this whole
All the project. So it's about groups of 20 participants, but it depends on the years. And the project is, I think, the 4th edition this year. So 4th edition with between 20 to 16 participants per year. One important thing is that the CND is do some experimentations with this type of cultural projects, and after that, the objective for the CND is not to it is to continue to experiment some other type of cultural projects, participative cultural projects, but they also want to disseminate this type of projects, and they define a methodology of work for this type of project like Assemblée, and try to encourage other cultural venues to do projects like they do. So in some cases, it's not working every time, but in some cases, the Assemblée project or the other cultural projects that the CND is experiment that are replicated, adapted by other cultural venues in national at the national scale, so in France.
Okay, thanks. I see. Next question: how about the finance? It is publicly supported or in some partnership with business?
Yeah, the CND is a public institution, so it's in large part public of authorities that financed this type of projects. But not in France like in other countries. Public cultural institutions have to seek some money everywhere. So indeed,
You have also some
private
cooperation with business to sponsors.
Yeah, but in this case, it's mostly public finance. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If I may follow up this trace, and okay, so maybe before.
Hi. Thank you for your presentation, especially because it was full of positive message.
I tried to.
But I would like to ask you, who is excluded from this project?
Yeah.
I think about persons with disabilities. I think about youngsters. I think about seniors. I think about yeah. Because on your pictures I see maybe only women.
Yeah.
From middle class
question.
Let's say.
Yeah. It's a very good question, and you're right. I was focusing on the positive impacts, but so about social exclusion, it's a project mainly with women, because dance in France is very associated with women, and men are not really easily participate to this type of projects. But it's a real challenge for the CND, and on the CND are conscious of this challenge of who can participate to this type of project. So mainly women, yes, but for the generational aspects, everybody can participate. And not maybe not on the pictures, but some of participants are under 16, for example. So it's not about how people can participate, although to this project. And yeah, of course, in French we call about mixité sociale, social mixity, and it's not a perfect project from this point of view. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Very shortly, it is also my worry about the diversity of the group participating in those projects, but maybe it's yet another argument to be drawn from your presentation that this culture of proximity is a goal rather than a state, and sometimes it demands a huge competence to feel free to be with others and to dance with them. So the dance is a promise, but also something that draws our attention to maybe the barriers of feel free to dance with other ones. I'm not speaking only about the men, because I think it's also the case for Poland, but also about not disabled, as Waldemar mentioned, but also the ones who are poorer, also the ones who are not as much fond of their bodies, and so on and so on. But I guess maybe dance is a great exercise to talk about the culture of proximities in cities, also because it shows a lot of obstacles we should overcome somehow to make this possible.
Maybe I can add something. First, a lot of participants I interview express that this is not easy for them to dance with others. So but they do it. So it's possible. And the CND is working with some social centers, local social centers, to invite people that are not usually participants to the CND performance and exhibition and so on, and they succeed to attract some volunteers, some participant volunteers, like migrants of the local territory. So it's not perfect, as I said, but they try to open this project to all. But of course, it's much more an objective than a reality. And what I want to precise is that the project is free. So there is no money barrier, but there are a lot of other barriers.
Thank you very much. Nie widzę żadnych
Bardzo dziękuję.
pytań. Chciałem Państwa zapytać tylko, która jest
I
godzina.
can't
teraz,
see
jakbyście
any more
powiedzieli.
questions. Could anyone tell me what time it is? It's
W
11
naszym
minutes
programie
past
przewidzieliśmy
11.
20-minutową
So
przerwę.
we
co
have a
oznacza, że
20
spotkamy
minutes
się po
break.
poznańsku o 11:31.
So please be back at 11:31 to be exact, and please do come on time. It will help us.
20 minutes break.
Yeah, I was wondering why you're so late on this again. Or you ignore me. Grab your things, I won't explain. Shh, that's a warning. No, you don't have time to claim that you still wanna me, wanna me. Yeah, I was wondering, were you suddenly on this again, or you ignore me? Grab your things, I won't explain. Shh, that's a warning. No, you don't have time to claim that you still want me. You can't run today. Oh, I let myself lose. I found my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good. I let myself lose. I found my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good. The rain is calling home. The rain is finally calling home. On my own. I love this city light. I love this city light. Through the night, 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 night. Yeah, I was wondering why you're so late on this again. Or you ignore me. Grab your things, I won't explain. Shh, that's a warning. No, no, you don't have time to claim that you still want me, want me.
11:34, więc już 3 minuty po.
Well, it's 11:34, so it's high time for us to start. Before the break, we talked a lot about getting together, groups dancing together, and how our future how gloomy our future seems to be. But the next speech will be about the other part of the conference title, not how to combat a sense of loneliness, but also how to support solitude when it is something welcome or necessary to be with others later on. And Sebastian Kunitz will tell us about this. He is a graduate of media design, and he works for Collective in Hanover, a patron city of Poznań.
This won't be a long introduction.
Możesz wejść, to nie będzie długie wprowadzenie. He concentrates on participation and social participation, and the title of his speech is Silence is ... Okay, so Sebastian, please take over the stage.
Hello, my name is Sebastian. Thank you for having me here. I'm part of the Cameo Collective, which is an NGO based in Hanover. We are 40 members, and we develop projects who bring people together. And in our projects, we usually pop up as temporary beer gardens where we invite people to have a drink with us, or we open up offices for criticism, because everybody have critics. So we focus on that, what everybody can do, and we also pop up with participative projects in public space. And these projects are our ears to the city. In these formats, we collect knowledge and experiences, and these together build our archive. And this archive is our soil we can work with. And this archive we also give to artists in the city or the region of Hanover. And so they are like humble bees for us, because they, with their inspiration, they give us, how to say, new ideas to work with the archive. But we are basically doing workshops with people from diverse communities, and we do this by having a lot of partners, MSOs, disabled people, people who are alcoholics, people from everywhere, and we gather them together in workshops and want to find out how to make a better living together. So we use a lot of different methods, and these workshops are like, we invite them as gardeners to work with this soil we have in our archives. And later, because we are magazine lovers, we bring the results to magazines to find people to harvest these ideas and maybe to join us on the road of finding better living together. We do this offline and online. And of course, we also have something like a Thanksgiving when we do conferences or parties. We do this now since 10 years, and over the time we learned a lot. But these 4 things probably are the most important to us. Every invitation is an uninvitation. We keep this in mind all the time, and I please you to do that also. For every co-creative process, you have to open up a space again and again. And this is really stressful on the one hand, but it's so important because participants need to find trust in this process and also in the idea of collaboration when you bring people from different or diverse communities together. They are not used to that. So to unite people from different backgrounds for a common goal builds barriers. And this is so frustrating for us because all we want to do is to banish barriers. But we have to be honest in this. With every workshop we do, we build barriers. And despite using different languages and simplifying content, we couldn't create an environment equally accessible to everyone yet. So it's really helpful for us to keep that in mind. When I read the book The Disappearance of Rituals by Byung-Chul Han years ago, I was wondering how can silence be a method for our workshops? And it turned out that it's the best when you begin in silence at the point when people don't know each other. The participants, they tell us that at the beginning they feel uncomfortable and often they start laughing or they look somewhere in the ceiling, on the bottoms, but then they notice their surrounding after a while and also the people they are with them. And so people get curious to each other, they get curious to the process, they get curious to methods they don't know yet. And although we didn't manage to have an equally accessible workshop yet, it helps us to do it better than before. And Byung-Chul Han is right when he says we are united in silence, but in our workshops, however, we found out that the shared experience of silence also creates unity. And or to put it in another way, you don't have to be united to be silent. Last year, the Stiftung Mitarbeit and Stiftung Mercator in Germany, they made a call for tenders to promote encounter at everyday places, and we're looking for new ideas and projects. So we immediately had the idea to have this session in our workshops in everyday places. So how to do that, how to co-create maybe a place where we have in the city to gather together in silence and later on to get in exchange. And this is how we want to do that. We started this project in June this year, and it will last until September next year. So we are in the middle of the process. And we started with a survey. Until now, there are over 400 people in 11 different languages took place in this survey. We are now doing interventions which are inspired by this survey in public space, but also in other possibilities. And with these learnings, we want to do workshops with people from diverse communities again, to have a prototype in the end we can build together in the city of Hanover. So for now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a place in the city of, in the center of your city. A small island surrounded by the noise of everyday life, a meeting point for everyone to pause and to be silent. No expectations, no stress, just a space to be. Now imagine people visiting this place to experience silence together and then exchanging thoughts after that shared experience. And when you picture this imagination, I would like to please you to scan this Mentimeter, and I have two questions for you. To find out what maybe this place looks like here. And maybe we can now change to Mentimeter. It's a multiple choice, and if you don't find your right answer, you maybe can put something in the chat. So I guess all of us have taken part now. So it's interesting to see. I just say you feel safe there is the most likely answer. The place is open always, and it's like a small park with plants. So these are the three most choices. And maybe we can go to the next question now, because it's interesting, because it's what we expected. You feel safe there because? Okay, is somebody still voting? I don't know. Something is happening, okay. Okay, so thank you for this experiment. So the 13 out of 14 people said there are no expectations on me, on this place. And maybe we can change now, sorry. I show you why this is so interesting. So more than 400 people in 11 languages in the city of Hanover asked this, were answering this question as well. And the most of the people, they like to feel it safe there as well. A place with the seating is very important to the people. And it is like a small park with the plants is also like what they would like to have. But they feel safe because there are no expectations on them. So this is so interesting to us. And there are that there are rules, which is kind of strange for us now because rules are expectations somehow. And they don't have to talk about somebody, to somebody, sorry. So there are more questions in this survey, but it was interesting maybe to see that. Out of this survey, we came, so far we had the chance to experiment with methods of silence in different settings. And one of them was we got invited by the land of Lower Saxony to presentate our work to people who work in cultural and art places in Berlin and Lower Saxony. And it was a networking dinner. So we used our chance to do a silent part at the appetizers, and the organizers were pretty nervous because usually networking is about chatting, but later the people, they came to us and said, hey, this was so important to the whole of the evening because all of what we were talking before was not important anymore. We had another point and it really was something remarkable. And yeah, it helped in a way. Another thing we tested was, this is Kröpke, it's like the city center, thousands of people, drunk people, people who are high on drugs, people who just want to buy something at H&M or somewhere. They crossed this place, and we invited people for after-work Schweigen. And you have to know, in Germany, you have to register an assembly when you're more than 5 people. So I called the police and said, we want to do an event, or we want to invite people to Kröpke for Schweigen, to be silent, in silence. And the police said, okay, what is the topic of this assembly? And I said, there's no topic, it's silence. Okay, and what will happen? Is it an event? And no, there's no program, it's silence. And later on, people could talk to each other. And the end of this game was, okay, it's no event, no assembly, so just do it, but nobody knew how to deal with that. And this is also very interesting to me, because Byung-Chul Han says in the same book, I quoted before, that silence is the point zero of production in our post-industrial age. And this is why our system struggles to handle this. So maybe this is something connecting to each other here. But it was also magic what happened here, because in the first after-work Schweigen, we were like 10 people, and all of these people, they didn't know each other before. So somebody came to this place and handed out papers with questions for maybe after the Schweigen is interesting, and the silence. And then another guy rang a gong to stop talking, to signal that stop talking, and then we waited. And after 1 minute, people felt, okay, we need to move somehow, and they built a circle. Nobody made an instruction to them. Nobody, whatever. So it was a circle, and you can see it in this picture, slightly. And this circle stand for 9 more minutes. And the people from outside that walked around the circle, when they were checking their smartphones, they figured out, oh, I'm in a circle, sorry, I'm go out, or others stand by and were be silent also. So it's really interesting. And when we quit silence with a gong again, people were really engaged to talk to each other then afterwards about this experience. And this was something really good to see. And which is more interesting to see is that this pattern is going on all the time. We did it now 3 times, and every time people build a circle, but nobody says build a circle. Yes? And so silence is something without barriers in that thing, and something really connecting. But in our project, we want to find out how to make a place for this. And so we built something like a cardboard model with this pavilion, where people can come and silence together with no appointment, no signal, no nothing. And so we figured out it's pretty much hard to do that. Because if somebody sits there in there, people maybe don't want to go inside this room because it's already occupied. So the encounter was hard to find, but when it happened, it really was something special, and we had deep talks to people. We didn't know each before, they not even knew who's Cameo Collective or whatever. So, and just this first moment in silence gives us maybe the the power to be more open afterwards, to have trust to each other. So the transparency you saw in this picture before, in this room, was perceived as very important by most of the people in the survey, but it also tended to irritate the people in the test and made them feel uncomfortable. So, and on the other hand, the arrival of people was when they were sitting in this room, and the arriving was mostly described as pleasant and touching to the people. So, which is also very interesting for us to see. And last but not least, 2 visitors in this weekend came to us, and they just want to chat with us, not be silent. And both of them were told us that they are alone and therefore silent most of the time. And they heard about this place, And they want to come there because maybe they can talk to people who leaving silence like them, and then talk. It was very interesting. So this was a live insight into our project Silence Is. And this winter we will develop these many and other experiences and insights and draft a prototype with participants from various communities, as I said before. And for now, we don't know what it is, but there must be something like a bridge, a method to this place we need to find, and this is the questions. The most important question to our workshops now. So, thank you for your everything, and thank you, Joanna, for organizing everything. Thank you.
Boże, jak to wyglądało. Widzicie, jak ja pokazałam na ten mic? Jak pierdolę.
No właśnie. Szanowni Państwo, czy macie jakieś
Ladies
pytania?
and gentlemen, do you have any questions?
Albo uwagi lub komentarze?
Any comments?
Ja bym Cię zapytał o jedną
I would like to ask you one thing.
I can speak in Polish, okay. Co wynika z tego doświadczenia?
What are the outcomes of this experience? I think it's very interesting that we have more and more
Działań aktywistycznych,
activist, artistic activities that show the benefits of silence, but also they show how strange this experience is. So we need to overcome this strangeness. You accumulate these experiences. So have you come up with any suggestions on urban planning or planning activities that we pay for in cities? After this experience of being with others, first in silence and then listening to people how it was for them, do you feel that we should do some less of something and more of something when it comes to designing cities and activities in these cities? If you could elaborate.
Well, thank you for the question. Usually we live in a time where we add to something, and we find out we need to substitute maybe, or to subtrahieren. What is minus?
Subsydiować chyba.
Yeah, substitute, okay. And this is maybe also what is this project about, to do less, to have more. Because, and the very important thing, when we talk to people about this project, they all are very interested in this. And they think, hey, well, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, everybody can be silent, although it's very hard. But it's also hard for everybody to do that. Yeah? So we need to take time for this, that everybody has the chance for this experience. Yes, in the end, it's an experience when you are in silence with others. And I'm just about to find out, and I'm really enjoying it. I hope this can help. But it's not about what to do. Maybe it's about what not to do. This is. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your speech. It was very exciting. I have many thoughts in my head now. There is a very old Polish proverb that talking is silver, and silence is gold. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I really like this proverb. Our world is full of words. Stupid words, aggressive words, unfriendly words. And in this context, of course, silence is gold, really gold. But on the other side, I'm afraid that silence also can be unfriendly, that silence also can be aggressive. What is your opinion about this?
Yeah, a lot of people actually really came to us, especially like migrant organizations, to say this is not the time to be silent now. And we don't want them to be silent, and we don't want anybody to be silent. We just want to give a place where you can be silent for a period of time together, and then go to exchange. This is the main goal. So first, because we start talk, and then we despite in silence. Yeah? And this is communication is working now. But what if we just organize it in another way? To make a place for this, just start in silence and then talk. Maybe we can find another way of finding together. And there's a nice picture also to silence is gold, or because silence is like an ocean which is surrounding us and is in between us, you know? And when we use words, these are the islands. But when the word is ended, there's silence again, and it was before.
You are a poet, I got it.
Yes. So it's something really connecting us.
Dziękujemy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Jak dobrze została pomyślana przez osoby, które układały program. Kolejność zaraz się Państwo
Apparently, the sequence of presentations is not an accident. First we spoke about dance, then about silence, and now we will listen to what happens when little is happening, and then a lot of things start to happen. Not always better things.
Najważniejsze informacje. Tak, teraz tu działa. Za dużo mam mikrofonów, za dużo słów.
Apparently I have too many mics and too many words. So, Liz Gillis and Kathy Scarfield, these are our next presenters. The two ladies have so many things in common. Your bios are quite similar. So let me introduce the two of you in one go. Historians, deeply rooted in Dublin and its local history. And both of you do a lot to keep the remembrance of Ireland locality, both cooperating with the County Council of Dublin.
O czym powiedzą, tytuł.
And Liz and Kathy will have a presentation on "We don't need to be saved, we want to be heard." The impact of gentrification in the Liberties in Dublin.
And the
Liberties is one of the oldest districts of the city. How gentrification can isolate the residents. We know our local perspective will be happy to see the Dublin perspective, and is it possible to harness gentrification to the advantage of everyone who lives in a city district and want to stay there without being isolated. Ladies, I'll give you the floor.
This one. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hello everybody. Delighted to be here today.
Dziękuję, bardzo się cieszymy, że możemy z Wami być. Bardzo dużo radości sprawiło nam zaproszenie na forum. Liz i ja jesteśmy historyczkami w Dublinie i tak faktycznie widzimy, jak to miasto się zmienia. I dziś chcemy się nieco naszymi spostrzeżeniami podzielić.
So where is the Liberties of Dublin?
Gdzie mieści się dzielnica Liberties?
Dublin is the capital of Ireland.
To może kilka słów wprowadzenia. Dublin, stolica Irlandii, składa się z wielu takich wioseczek, które połączyły się w jedno. I Liberties jest najstarszą z tych wiosek w południowo-zachodniej części miasta. Bardzo wiele do zaoferowania. Mamy tam ulicznych sprzedawców,
We used to have market places as well,
którzy również mają swoje sklepiki, bardzo dużo rodzinnych firm, które są prowadzone już od wielu pokoleń. Jesteśmy znani z tego, że jesteśmy bardzo przyjaźni. Jak ktoś już pozna miejscowych mieszkańców, to nie chce się z nimi nigdy rozstać. Tradycyjnie była to dzielnica piekarzy, cukierników, szewców.
A lot of shoes were made in Dublin.
W ogóle cały Dublin tradycyjnie był miastem szewców, ale zwłaszcza właśnie dzielnica Liberties. Też przemysł tekstylny, a więc tkactwo, które później w miarę rozwoju przemysłu stało się już przemysłem z prawdziwego zdarzenia. I oczywiście Guinness. Na pewno każdy słyszał o Guinnessie. Tak, mamy go też u nas. Jest to nasza największa atrakcja turystyczna.
My slide won't move.
Coś mi tutaj nie działa, slajd się nie chce przesunąć.
Got it, okay.
Okej, udało się.
Statistics about our
Jeszcze
liberties.
kilka danych statystycznych. Oficjalne dane mówią, że mieszka w Liberties 25 000 mieszkańców, ale na pewno jest ich więcej. Zwłaszcza po zmianach w ostatnich latach. Mamy też taką społeczność, która pojawia się i znika. Pojawia się tylko na jakiś czas. Mamy też wielu turystów, którzy przyjeżdżają na parę dni, może parę tygodni i później jadą dalej. Natomiast jest to na pewno najgęściej zaludniona dzielnica Irlandii i najgęściej zaludnione miejsce, dzielnica Dublina i miejsce w Irlandii. Jeżeli poprosimy kogoś, kto tam mieszka, o oprowadzenie nas po zielonych terenach, no to pokażą nam, że powiedzą, że jedynym skrawkiem zieleni
So we always call it the wheelie bin lid theory. So it explains to you we haven't many parks, we haven't open spaces. Some of our parks are former graveyards, so that is the best we could do. The area has welcomed people always. There are people who live there and they have Norse surnames, Norman surnames. My own would come from that. We have the Huguenot people who left persecution on our continent here in Europe and came to live in Dublin. We have Quakers. We had people from the English, the Scots, the Welsh, plenty of Italians from all over Europe. People have settled here. Now, more recently, we have the Chinese community, we have Russians, Indian, the Pakistani, and we even have the Polish church located in the Liberties, one of our own parish churches dedicated to the Polish community. The Liberties is always welcoming. You can even see our lost tourists here struggling with one of our maps, trying to find their way around the city of Dublin. No, I'm not getting, yeah. So one thing that we like to say about the Liberties, it's all about history, heritage, culture, craft and community. However, officialdom would probably tell us it's more to do with dereliction and desperation and an area that could do with an awful lot of help. And that is probably where the regeneration of the area came from. It is certainly part of the city where you'll see the old and the brand new standing side by side, plenty of trades in it. My own family are all different trades that were all came together over the years, plenty of culture, very specific traditions relating to the liberties, particularly, say, around births and marriages, things you won't find anywhere else in Ireland. And that is probably because of the mix of community we had over the years. You often get lots of lovely red brick houses. It's known for its red brick terrace houses, the old ones. And then you get the Dublin limestone. It's a type of limestone that can look grey on a normal day. And when we've had rain, the buildings seem to go black because the stone changes colour. Multi-generation families. Plenty of families within the area that can trace their lineage back. It can be great fun if you go out, someone will say, I knew your granddad. He used to work in the such a body. And that's usually the opening line of a conversation. From getting such a mix of people, we get some famous people from there too. We've had sports stars, particularly footballers. We have lots of actors, lots of actresses, plenty of comedians that have come from the area, singers and musicians. There's a huge musical tradition in the area too. Libertarians are proud and they're honourable people. That's what they're generally known for, and they are the original core community living there. So why did we have regeneration? Well, you can see some of the dereliction here. This is only being addressed more recently. There was a major economic decline in Ireland at different times, and every time we had an economic dip, it seemed to affect the liberties in particular. And we more or less lost both our textile industry and our distilling industry. The distillers are coming back. We think the textiles are coming back too. There were two huge road widening schemes, two major ones. They literally ran motorways through the medieval city. However, they were never fully finished. These were started in the 70s and the 80s. They had been talked about from the 40s and the 50s. So when you know your building is to be demolished or removed, people didn't maintain them. There were short leases and buildings started to go into decline. This one is an example of a road that never got completed. It's a road that leads absolutely nowhere. A dual carriageway, and you can see it ending at a wall at the end there. Everything has to funnel back in to just a two-way street. The other thing happened, we had a huge movement of population from the Liberties area, the inner city areas, out to the suburbs, particularly in the 80s. Very fashionable to move to the suburbs. You could get a house with a phone. You could get houses that had driveways. You had the opportunity to have a car, all mod cons, which you wouldn't have had in the traditional housing stock. And anyway, we didn't build new houses in the Liberties, which meant we lost a lot of our young people. The young people had no starter homes to move into. When you have an area that's going into a decline like that, you start getting bits of antisocial behaviour. So it was ripe for regeneration. What we lost so many things that were part of me growing up, part of Liz growing up, and we see them disappearing one by one. We lost quite a number of community centres. In fact, at the moment, we only have a very, very small community space that has to be shared out among multiple groups. We lost our heritage centres, places where people could go, learn about the history of our city and the pride that people like Liz and myself and others have in it that we love to share. We lost all our parish centres. Our parish centres were a big part of our world. Most of them have been passed on now for homeless services or for other support things like dinners for the older people in the community, things like that, but they're not generally available to the wider community. In one street alone, we lost both our fire brigade station and our library. Now, it's not that we needed a fire brigade station, we putting out fires every day or anything like that. It was the fact that the men were going to the station. They would shop locally, buy their lunch, pop out for a cup of coffee. Everybody knew them around. And when that moved, we lost all that. Losing the library has been a huge loss and is keenly felt. And the residents of the area are none too pleased with the council for taking the library away. We lost 3 theatres. So where is our future generation of entertainers, comedians, actresses? Where are they going to come from when we've lost 3 beautiful theatres? This one, the Tivoli, is in Francis Street in the Liberties. That's gone. We lost another one down on the quays near the river, near the River Liffey, which runs through Dublin. And then we lost another one in the area too, which was sponsored by the Guinness family. So the brewery was a big part of life. That theatre is lying idle at the minute. Another thing was this market. That's what the state of it at the moment, in complete ruin. That was the Ivy market. The Ivy family are the Guinness family, another thing that Guinnesses had given the area. These neglecting things, leaving them to lie in ruin, has been much resented by the local people. And then we lost things like our factories, offices, shops, and horror of all horror, our public houses have been closing down as well in the Liberties of Dublin. I'm going to pass to Liz now to see what she can offer us.
Thanks a mil, Kathy. I'll take that one. Thanks, Kathy. So Kathy has shown the history and what we lost. And we lost this all very, very quickly. But I'm going to talk about what was gained. And in terms of what the local community gained, it was very little. Our previous speaker talked about silence. This is a very good example of how there was complete silence between the people who made the decisions that impacted on the city and the locals, because they were not considered at all. The area was ripe for redevelopment, gentrification, but the type of development was something that was not going to benefit the local community. It would benefit a transient community. And why was that? Because if you have a transient community, people will not be invested in the community, they will not put down roots, they will not care they don't have a local library or a fire brigade station or a parish centre. That is what the locals need. You put down roots, you invest in your community, you are there for the foreseeable future. So this is what we gained. Lots and lots and lots and lots of student accommodation. This is the tip of the iceberg. They are still building student accommodation. In Dublin, on the whole, approximately nearly 29,000 beds. In the Liberties, you're talking close to 4,500 student beds, but not actual places for local students to stay because they cannot afford the rent on that actual student accommodation. All of this student accommodation, they have the mod cons. They have gyms, they have cinema rooms, some have bowling alleys, they have social spaces where people can meet, everything that the local community doesn't have. But these buildings just appeared, began to appear. We were told, what's that building? Or when people asked, what was that building going to be? We were just told, student accommodation. And that would be fine if it was 1 or 2, but it was constantly student accommodation or hotels. So all of these buildings for a transient community who would not shop in the local area, who would not talk to the locals, because where they were going, if they want to see Dublin, they would go to Temple Bar, which is the worst place to see the real Dublin. You're not getting that real experience. When the locals spoke up, we were told we were negative, we were against regeneration, but we were not being heard. They would not listen to us at all. So Kathy, myself, a group of us who are from the area, who are local historians, we decided how can we actually turn this around into a positive, because with 4,000 new students coming to this area, we had to do something. So a friend of ours, he came up with a very simple idea, a Meet the Local Shopkeepers tour. Now, there is one street in the Liberties, Meath Street, which is the beating heart of the Liberties. That is where you'll find your local baker, your butcher, your fishmonger, the church. You go down that street and you interact with people. But these students were being told to bypass Meath Street. Do not go near that area, and we want to change that. This college that I work for now is Champlain College in Dublin. They are an American college, and our students come and live in the Liberties for 4 months. 50 students out of the 4,000 plus. And a friend of mine who worked there, he had lived in the Liberties, realised he had 50 students coming to this area. It was going to be their home for 4 months. How could he integrate his students to this community? And he went on this shopkeepers tour and saw this is a great opportunity for my students to meet the locals. And that is where it started. So this is our very first Meet the Local Shopkeepers tour. A day after these students land, they're still jet lagged. They don't know where they are. For many of them, it is their first time out of America. For many of them, it's their first time away from home. They're very sheltered kids. And they are coming to a working class, vibrant, quite loud community. But we bring them down Meath Street and they go into their local deli. They go and meet Michael Norton. This is Michael Norton, the most famous fruit and veg salesman probably in Ireland at this stage. They meet the local fishmonger. Now we do have we have a Tesco, we have those big supermarkets. And it's not that we're telling the students not to shop there, but it's also, well, go into your local fruit and veg man. It's not for what you buy, it is the interaction with those people. They talk to you, they say hello. You are not invisible. Because these kids are also this generation that it is very easy to be isolated. It is them and their computers. That is it. They don't talk. It's an online world that they live in. And this takes them out of it. This is a quote from one of the students when asked how, by doing that tour on that first day, second day, how it actually impacted their experience of their study abroad. And what he said was, something really cool we did during orientation week was to take a tour of the area we're living in. So we live in the Liberties, which is the old historical section of Dublin. Very nice. On this tour we met a lot of the local shopkeepers and grocers. It really helped me feel more at home because the Liberties is home for the 4 months they're here. Now whenever I go to them, they ask me how my most recent trip was because they recognise me. They're very welcoming and also, importantly, cheap. They are a lot cheaper than the big supermarkets. Unlike in the US in the whole, local grocers and food is actually cheaper than the supermarkets, and the groceries here are very cheap compared to home. Our orientation tour with the locals actually made the news in one of Ireland's biggest newspapers. And that was the Irish Times, because the day that we were doing that tour, the Irish Times sent a journalist to write a negative story. They were going to write a story about how the locals in the Liberties are opposed to regeneration. They don't want change. We turned that on its head, because they wrote a very positive story, as in when the people are not listened to, they will work out a solution themselves. The council saw how we turned it into a positive, and then they began to support it. And this is what the journalist said. The Liberties is really a village. Around here, it's not about the money, it's about community. And by doing that tour with those students, they have now become part of the community, so much so that we have that interaction. Now, Kathy talked about the spaces. If you don't have a library or a parish centre, where can the young and old meet? We did have, or do have, one centre called the Little Flower Hall, which provides dinners for elderly people and homeless people. And before COVID, we were able to put on a Thanksgiving dinner. Now, the Irish don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It's an American holiday. But we hosted, with the support of the County Council, a Thanksgiving dinner to thank the students for becoming part of the community. And here you see 20-year-olds eating with 70-year-olds, and they're swapping stories, they're having that interaction. Now, to encourage the students to shop local, we actually run a shop local raffle in the college. It gets very, very competitive. The students, if they buy something from the butcher or the baker, they keep their receipt, they sign the receipt, put it in a box, and every week we pull out a winning receipt, and then they will win a voucher for the fruit and veg shop. It is very, very popular. It's very competitive, and it just encourages the students to support their local community, because all of these businesses are family-run businesses. They're independent retailers that are in families for generations. And the shopkeepers themselves, they love seeing the students. And Noel Fleming, who is a street trader, has been in the area for 60 years. And what he says with this interaction, the students are not isolated. They stop and have a chat with the shopkeepers. Students have volunteered for clean-up days and liberties. Shopkeepers and the locals keep an eye out. You have that passive surveillance. There's a friendly face they can go and say hello to. They have embraced the liberties as their home, and that is the key word, home. It is their home for the 4 months they're studying in Ireland. And we did a little survey with them, again, to see how it impacted doing that tour with them. What was the impact for them? And just some answers. One of the students says, we became friendly with some of the locals, such as our butchers, barbers. Kathleen, she's a street trader. She sells flowers at the bottom of Meath Street. It really made me feel at home and comfortable in a new place. We have they cooked a Thanksgiving dinner for us, but also in other places throughout the Liberties. Kathleen was always very welcoming. Whenever I get something at our stand, Michael always knew what I would come in to get. So the local shopkeepers know what the students are going to buy. But what is crucial is these students, before they would have done this tour, all of the other students that are in the area, if they walk down Meath Street, they walk with their head down. They do not interact. They do not say good morning. Our 50 students walk down Meath Street with their heads held high. They say good morning, and the shopkeepers say good morning to them. I've often walked in to a shop to find my students in deep conversation with the local shopkeepers. They know more about what's going on in the area than I do. The result of this dialogue between the locals and the newcomers, which the council were against, but then when they saw that it could work, began to support. Anything is possible, because as a result of our work with the students, we were recommended or nominated for a nationwide award called the Pride of Place Awards. It's a huge, huge deal. It's a whole event connecting the north and south of Ireland. And for the first time, the Liberties, we actually won the Pride of Place Award for the outreach work that we did with these students. But those students, it is 50 out of over 4,000. Imagine if all of those students walked down Meath Street, spent €1 or €2 in those shops, what that would do for the local community, for the local economy. But I'm going to hand back to Kathy for the last words.
We're just going to wrap it up by saying Gura Mahagut, which means thank you in Irish. But before I leave you, I'd like to share with you our efforts to bring the textile or the weaving industry back to the Liberties. It's the missing link. It's the piece we're working on at the moment. And it sums up, this is a tapestry done by one of our weaving students in the area. And what she's showing you is the redevelopment, all the big student blocks, apartment blocks. You can see the cranes on the skyline. In the middle, you can see the skyline of the Liberties, famous buildings there, like the Fenian Church, which is in Thomas Street, not far from the Polish church. Part of the windmill, you can see the old windmill there, part of one of the distilleries. A local monument. But in among all this are the people. the lady with the pram, the lady with the shopping trolley, the child on her skateboard, children playing, dancing around in the streets, because I told you we don't have any green spaces. And the message we want to give you, the message we want to give our City Council, is that daisies bloom where they find room, and this is true of people too. Thank you.
Domyślają się Państwo mojego pytania. Czy są pytania?
You probably know that I want to ask you if you have questions.
Jak zwykle, może ja rozpocznę. Maybe
Apparently.
I start by posing one question. Do you have a translation right now? Okay. Chciałbym zadać pytanie, które dotyczy.
I would like to ask a question about a follow-up. What happens to those students
Z jednej strony społeczność
later? Because on the one hand, the local community stays there,
4000 młodych osób,
no longer feeling separated from the 4000 students
niszczy charakter tej ulicy. A teraz wyobrażam
who
sobie,
seemed
że
isolated before the project. But let's take a student who spends 2 or 3 years and they feel much attached to the liberties, but then they have to move on. So I've been thinking that those students' residence buildings make university studies a commodity. Students come and go, and you build links between the students and the liberties, but then they have to go. So this happens not only in Dublin, but also elsewhere in other cities where students stay for a few months or years, and then they go. So here's my question. Do you do anything about any follow-up?
We do. Personally, we do keep in touch with our students, but before we did that, I discovered that the local shopkeepers kept in touch with the students who have left 5 years ago, because they really built up friendships with them. So the shopkeepers were telling me how my students were getting on, what jobs they had gotten, some were getting married. I didn't even have that relationship with them. That was the strength of the relationship with the shopkeepers. Now those students are all in their jobs. They're coming back. They're bringing their families back. And they're encouraging students who may be thinking about studying abroad, but who are maybe a bit nervous. They're telling them, go to Dublin. It is an experience that will change your life, and you will get a completely different experience to normal study abroad, because you're actually becoming part of a community. So they're only there for 4 months, but the relationships continue. So they spread the word, their families come over. We have 4 students have just come back that graduated 3 years ago. 3 of them, one is studying in Dublin. They're gone on to their masters. 1 is, 2 of them are working, and 1 came back to her boyfriend that she got in Ireland. So it's a start of something. And we see the huge benefit we have seen in the students is the confidence, because they're shy, very quiet when they arrive. By the time they leave 4 months later, they are confident, they are locals, and they want to come back. So that's a unique experience that we've had. And the great thing is they are sharing, they're telling other students in Dublin to come to the Liberties. Don't go to Temple Bar. We'll show you real Dublin. So they're actually spreading the word amongst their peers. So yeah.
Bardzo dziękuję za prezentację.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting. Both of you spoke about how the local community opens up to students. And I would like to ask a question about the other side. What about universities? Do universities open up to local communities? I work at a local university in Poznan, and we, in my university, we think about how to open up our university campus to the local community. For instance, we could give them access to our libraries. On the weekends, where the university is mostly empty, we could make our spaces open to local NGOs, to local events. Would you have any good practice from Dublin to share with us? Something that could inspire us in this way or another?
I'll take this one. The weaving group that I've been telling you about, Liz's students, what we've pushed it a little bit further now than just meet the shopkeepers. They're now meeting some of the community groups. So 2 of them came to work with the weavers and made a little mini documentary just using their phones, but it was really, really fun watching what they did. That went on then to win a student Emmy in Boston. It was so good. It's been shown all around America. It's also been shown all around Dublin. We have a college in the Liberties called the National College of Art and Design, and like that, no locals had ever been in that college. The doors were closed, you know, it was almost like it was a them and us. But because they've seen the work of the students from Champlain that Liz has been working with, they have started opening up their doors, realised the weaving community were there through the film made by the American students, and now are running local symposiums. They're making art space available, and they are also letting their students work in the community. So last year, a young lady called Sophia came from NCAD, worked with the weavers and designed a walking tour that you can do in the Liberties area based on the textile industry. That won a National Heritage Council award, got recognised. NCAD recognised that student really blossomed by being, as she said herself, I found my tribe. You know, she found somebody she could go to. So now we find that NCAD want to do walking tours. They want to try different versions of it, try the Meet the Shopkeepers, try other ones in the area. What important buildings have we got? That the NCAD students, our own Irish students, are becoming more integrated. They realise their college is in the Liberties. So you can be in the Liberties and you have to be of the Liberties as well. So this is making it of. There's so many facilities in the college that we need, the community locally need. We haven't got them, and they are making them available. So one thing, it's been like a set of Skittles and someone knocked the first one and now it's all happening. One thing is leading to another. Try it, open your doors, invite small community groups in, bring them on a tour of your campus, show them what you've got, and then come up with ideas as to how you can share. And then you'll find that one thing will lead to another.
Okay. Czas na przerwę z tego.
Okay, apparently it's time for another break. There are no more questions, I guess. So 20 minutes.
Że nasze spóźnienie się powiększy.
And I think our delay grows longer.
Będzie spotkać,
so we should meet at 1 p.m. and we will have 2 more presentations after the break, and we will talk about rejuvenating common places, common spaces. So there is a short delay, a small delay, but we will do some magic and we will finish on time. So do not worry, and please be back in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was wondering, were you suddenly on this again, or you ignore me? Grab your things, I won't explain shit, that's a warning. No, no, you don't have time to claim that you still want me, you can't run out today. Oh, I let myself lose, I feel my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling so good. I let myself lose, I feel my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling so good. The rain is calling home. The rain is finally calling home. On my own. I love this city light. I love this city light. Through the night, I let myself lose, I feel my wings again. I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling so good. I let myself lose, I feel my wings again. I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so I'm feeling in my dreams, I'm dancing naked, wasted, thinking about my little dream come true. About my little dream come true. In my dreams, I'm dancing naked, wasted, thinking about my little Yeah, I was wondering, were you suddenly on this again, or you ignore me? Grab your things, I won't explain shit, that's a warning. No, no, you don't have time to claim that you still want me, Yeah, I was wondering, were you suddenly on this again, or you ignore me? Grab your things, I won't explain. Shh, that's a warning. No, no, you don't have time to claim that you still want me. You can't run out today. Oh, I let myself lose. I feel my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good. I let myself lose. I feel my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good. The rain is calling home. The rain is finally calling home. On my own. I love this city light. I love this city light. Through the night, 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 In my dreams I'm dancing naked, wasted, thinking about my little dream come true. About my little dream come true. In my dreams I'm dancing naked, wasted, thinking about my little dream. Yeah, I was wondering, were you suddenly on this again, or you ignore me? Grab your things, I won't explain. Shh, that's a warning. No, no, you don't have time to claim that you still want me. You can't run out today. Oh, I let myself lose. I feel my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good. I let myself lose. I feel my wings again. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so good. The rain is calling home. The rain is finally calling home. On my own. I love this city light. Hey.
Welcome back at the third session of day 2. Oh, I'm sorry. I owe you an explanation of how we are going to finish earlier. We thought that there wouldn't be much sense in having a break after these 2 presentations and then sum up the day. And we thought that we will not make that break. So therefore, we suggest that we have the 2 presentations as scheduled, followed by a summary without a break. So we will end on time, or maybe even before time, because I'm not going to talk for an hour as a summary. If you are waiting for this, unfortunately, you may be disappointed, or if someone horrid thought of this idea as horrid, then you will be happy. The last 2 presentations will deal with methods of reviving common space and preventing unwanted isolation. And the first speech is going to directly relate to this, and we will have Janine Rin-Sampesi. I'm sorry if I have butchered your last name. And she lives for the city of Assen and has many years of experience. And she has been an important person in a revolutionary approach to cities. And she will tell you about some of her experience, and she will tell you about her project in Assen that combats loneliness through a cross-domain approach, and about the solutions, especially data-based solutions, will be presented here, and you also will know about the city of Assen's plans for the future. We are very curious.
Well, thank you very much for this really nice introduction. I would like to share a story with you, a story about Mark de Sutter. Mark de Sutter was from Belgium, and he led a wandering life. And he had to overcome some difficult encounters in his life, and it led him to our city of Assen, in the neighborhood of Pittelo. Once he arrived in Pittelo, many of the residents in Assen avoided him. He smelled a bit funny, and his clothes were old, and people did not like to talk to him and avoided him every day. But once a community worker noticed him, and he took him by the hand, and he led him to our community center in the neighborhood. So he became a familiar face in the neighborhood, and his engagement towards the neighborhood grew. At the end of some time, he became a volunteer, and he helped out in the neighborhood. He shared coffees with residents, other residents, and he got to know the neighborhood very, very well. And at one point during our project, the students, volunteers, and professionals in the neighborhood, they wanted to organize a lunch. In the meantime, it was December 22. And Mark, as a former cook, thought, well, this is easy. I can join, and I can actually make a soup, because I like it, and I would like to do something for the people in the neighborhood. So the volunteers, professionals, and students, they awaited Mark, but Mark didn't show up. And that was a bit strange, because Mark was never late. So I got a phone call from one of the students calling me and saying, Janine, this is so weird. Do you know where Mark is? Because we had an agreement, and he would come and take care of the soup for the people for the neighborhood lunch. the first one. And I told her, I don't know where he is. So did you try to call him? Did you try to text him? And all of those things they did, but he wasn't there. So they got a bit worried. And this disturbing situation made them eventually to call the police. And the police also made some phone calls and rang his doorbell. Nothing happened. So at the end of the story, the police had to encounter his house to see what was going on. And they did a shocking discovery. Mark had died. This news was devastating for the network in the community center, the network in which Mark has built trust and relations with other residents from the neighborhood, with volunteers and professionals, students who helped out in the community center. And they were devastated. But also, we realized that how upset we were. We also realized that he died in isolation, but he overcame his loneliness. And that made us really proud, because his life was worthy again. And he helped others. He could be of meaning to other people. So it was a small funeral, but lots of people helped out. Many of them professionals, volunteers, friends. They knew what kind of music Mark liked, what he found important, what his visions were on life, and they shared that story on his funeral. And Mark had a worthy funeral, and a one that he could have been proud of, and we are proud of him. And during the latest coffee, the first time that Mark didn't show up, he was greatly missed, and we realized this work in our neighborhood, in realizing and strengthening networks, is really important. So this is why I stand over here. My name is Janine Rinson-Pessi, and I am an environmental director in the municipality of Assen, and especially in the neighborhood of Pittelo. At the moment, the project From Isolation to Inclusion took place. I was a policy advisor, and now since 1 year, I am an environmental director. Eye to Eye, in short, the project title. It is a project which is funded by Interact North Sea region. And the overall objective is to improve innovation in social services, to increase social isolation and combat loneliness. We started in 2020 with 10 partners from 7 different countries. We co-created between science, policymakers, industry, and end users, the residents, in this project. And our focus in Assen was to renew public space, to improve meeting places so people have attractive meeting spaces and possibilities to encounter. A very important vehicle during this project was Mijn Buurt Assen. It's our brand for our way of working in the neighborhoods. And it's a collaboration between our welfare organization, our housing corporation, and the residents, and the municipality, I'm sorry. Today, I would like to give you some insights about our lessons learned, success factors, and I would like to highlight some of the activities we did in our neighborhood and share how we anchored this project in our new way of working, in our neighborhood approach. But first, I would like you to share a short movie with you, which gives you an overview about the project.
De afgelopen jaren zijn we als gemeente Assen actief geweest in het Interreg-programma Eye to Eye. Een Europees project dat de bedoeling heeft om activiteiten te bedenken om eenzaamheid te voorkomen. We willen mensen niet alleen laten staan. En dit Europese project doen we samen met andere landen, zodat we van elkaar kunnen leren.
Eenzaamheid is een groot maatschappelijk probleem, ook in Assen. In het wijkonderzoek is aangetoond dat er best veel sociale eenzaamheid is tussen 45 en 55-jarigen. Daarnaast hebben betrokken partijen aangegeven dat eenzaamheid onder jongeren zorgelijk is en dreigde te verslechteren tijdens corona.
Wij wilden samen met vrijwilligers, met inwoners en met professionals hier wat aan doen. Niet van achter ons bureau, maar in de wijk. En onze aanpak kenmerkt zich door te luisteren. En samen met inwoners actief aan de slag te gaan met hun wensen en hun behoeften.
En dat betekende dat we moesten durven loslaten en flexibel meebewegen als de situatie daarom vroeg. En dat was best spannend, want we wisten vooraf niet wat de resultaten zouden worden. In deze film kijken we terug op die periode. Er zijn een aantal initiatieven gestart die we in de hele stad hebben uitgerold. We hebben een visie opgesteld die voor de hele gemeente richting geeft aan hoe we omgaan met de buitenruimte. Het heeft als doel om meer te bewegen, ontmoeten, spelen en sporten. Deze visie is ook voorgelegd aan onze kinderraad. De komende jaren wordt dit uitgerold per wijk. Het is maatwerk per buurt en we doen het samen met de buurt. Ook hebben we ons, samen met diverse partijen, aangesloten bij de landelijke coalitie 1 tegen eenzaamheid. Een van de acties die hieruit voortkwam was de Stel je voor campagne. Daarbij hebben we tijdens de Week van de Eenzaamheid koffie uitgedeeld op verschillende plekken in Assen. Dit hebben we samen met maatschappelijke partners gedaan. Een van de partners was Antjes Taverne, een sociaal ondernemer uit het centrum. Een bestaand initiatief dat we versterkt hebben door steun te bieden met subsidie vanuit ons preventiefonds. Samen met de welzijnsorganisatie Vaartwelzijn ondersteunen zij ouderen op verschillende manieren. Ze kunnen bij haar sporten in de beweegtuin, ze krijgen maaltijden aan huis of in haar taverne en er zijn activiteiten waardoor waardevolle sociale contacten ontstaan. Om een stap verder te komen hebben we ideeën op weg geholpen. Een mooi voorbeeld daarvan is het initiatief van inwoner Anne. Er is namelijk een verband tussen eenzaamheid en suïcide. In het kader van de Ik zie je campagne van de landelijke organisatie 113 zelfmoordpreventie hebben we daarom in alle wijken bankjes voorzien van een plaquette om het gesprek over suïcide aan te gaan. En we hebben ons gericht op de jongeren door een samenwerking aan te gaan met Join Us en Loods 13. Join Us is voor alle jongeren tussen de 12 en 30 jaar die graag meer sociale contacten willen. Dat wil overigens niet zeggen dat je eenzaam bent. Sommige jongeren hebben gewoon zin om nieuwe mensen te ontmoeten. Een ander mist iemand om zijn verhaal mee te delen en weer een ander is net verhuisd en vindt het moeilijk om aansluiting te vinden. En door theater te maken met jongeren brengt Loods 13 het onderwerp eenzaamheid op een creatieve manier onder de aandacht. Hiermee versterken we het gevoel erbij te horen. Een ouder vertelde dat haar zoon sinds het project vanuit de depressie weer opbloeit en echt toeleeft naar het moment dat ze weer samenkomen. Dit zijn de resultaten waar we het voor doen. Naast deze stedelijke acties hebben we ons ook gefocust op een specifieke wijk in Assen, Pittelo. Deze wijk scoort hoog op sociale eenzaamheid en laag op binding. We zijn begonnen met het huis-aan-huis verspreiden van een vragenlijst. Dat deden we door bij mensen aan te bellen en deze persoonlijk te overhandigen. We konden dan al iets meer vertellen over de ideeën die we hadden. We hebben meerdere sessies gehouden om met inwoners in gesprek te gaan. We deelden ijsjes uit in de wijk, we maakten winterwandelingen en we deden mee aan de open dag van het buurthuis. Zo creëerden we samen allerlei manieren om met inwoners in gesprek te gaan. Hier kwam een groep enthousiaste inwoners naar voren die aangaven graag iets met een culturele route te willen doen. Na een stemronde in de wijk waren er 2 groepen inwoners die ideeën wilden uitwerken. De ene groep werkt aan ideeën voor versterking van het buurthuis de Maastee en de andere groep houdt zich bezig met ontmoetingsplekken in het Pitteloze Park. Aan het eind van deze periode hebben we weer een enquête uitgezet. De resultaten tonen dat de sociale eenzaamheid in Pitteloos sterk is gedaald. Van 41% vorig jaar naar 34% nu. Een stuk lager dan voor corona. Een andere positieve uitkomst is de toegankelijkheid van de Maastee. 2 jaar geleden vond 51% die goed toegankelijk. Nu is dat 68%. Resultaten waar we trots op zijn.
En nu het Eye-to-Eye-project stopt onze aanpak dan ook? Nou, zeker niet. Vanuit de focus op de wijk hebben we meer bewustwording gecreëerd over dit belangrijke thema. Maar het blijft een maatschappelijk probleem. En ik denk echt dat we een goede beweging op gang hebben gebracht om het thema eenzaamheid blijvend aandacht te geven. Met Mijn Buurt Assen werken we actief aan de gemaakte plannen. En dat doen we niet alleen, dat doen we echt samen met de inwoners. Zo werken we aan een sociale stad, aan een Assen waar echt iedereen mee kan doen.
So now you have an overview over the project we realized in Assen. I would like to get more into depth with regards to the lessons we learned. At first, about the survey phase. Different forms of loneliness require different approaches. So this is why we in Assen started to focus on social loneliness instead of focusing on emotional loneliness or existential loneliness, where more sense of meaning misses or emotional bonding misses. And our focus was on social loneliness because of our approach, combination between domains, physical and social. So we focused on renewal of urban spaces, and this is why we specifically chose this kind of loneliness. We also learned that it's really important to first collect data, all kinds of data, to get into the neighborhood, to get to know the neighborhood, who lives in the neighborhood, but also in what kind of houses do they live, what are their income, and do they get by every month, what does the environment look like? These sorts of questions we all collected before starting our project in the neighborhood. And we also learned it's really important to cooperate with partners in the neighborhoods, because organizations like welfare or voluntary organizations, the housing corporations, they are really familiar in the neighborhood and they know a lot. Like our community workers, they know the neighborhood, they know the people, they speak their language, and it's really helpful to get to know them before starting the project. With regards to social innovation, we learned that talking about loneliness is really difficult. It's not possible to just send an invitation and ask who of you is lonely and would you like to come to a gathering in the community center. So we chose to focus on a more positive way to ask people to come to morning coffees and extend this with, for example, neighborhood lunches, asking them to join positive activities. We also used our existing way of working in neighborhoods, Mijn Buurt Assen, as a vehicle, and it's really important one because we work already 10 years in Assen with this method, with this program. And it's a collaboration, as I said earlier, between the Housing Corporation, welfare, and the municipality. So it's an integral approach, and the professionals work together, and they know a lot, not only about the neighborhood, but also about their professions. So they can replace one another. And they know all the stories. So our setting is always in the neighborhood, working together from Mijn Buurt Assen. Another thing we learned is that we have to pay attention to things people are unsatisfied about. So that could be the maintenance of public green spaces or safety issues. This is one of the things we learned during the project, during online sessions, for example. Residents keep talking about what bothers them first before you can get into your issue with regards to loneliness. And we also noticed that political decisions have long effects. So when municipalities have budget cuts, for example, in social work, or enforcement, or maintenance in public space, people talk about it for a long time. And you will always have to talk about these things first with your residents before they have headspace to talk about other things like what's important for you, social context, do you have your network, or do you come by, or other sorts of things. And we also learned that building relationships in the neighborhood is crucial, especially to maintain trust. So in Pittelo we now say, keep your word, say what you do, and do what you say. Looking at the interventions, we found out that it's really important to have a recognizable meeting place. In our case, it was the community center. At first, it was a bit hidden when we started out the project, between bushes and trees and green space. So it was really hard to find the community center in the neighborhood, and people didn't know about the neighborhood. That's what I stated in the movie also. After the project, the community center was a bit more recognizable. And another point is we learned that we have to facilitate residents properly. For instance, with facilitating meeting rooms or facilitating coffee or tea, or sometimes even a bit more expensive, like facilitating process guidance for a board in the neighborhood, the local board from the community center. So sometimes it's really a custom-made solution which helps the neighborhood a step further. In general, we learned that social design is a process, it's not a project. In projects, you could be very clear about what your results are, but that's not the case in social design. So we have to be clear and let go of the control about the results. And the last one, it's really difficult to work in an integral way. It's difficult to embed this way of working in our organization because it takes time and it takes endurance. Well, then something else about success factors. We found out that combating loneliness is not easy when you do it yourself. So it's really helpful to collaborate with other domains, such as the physical and the arts and cultural domains, for instance, because it strengthens powers, but it also makes it possible to combine budgets. So you have a bit more money to prepare interventions or organize activities or whatsoever. And we also learned that putting loneliness on the agenda, it increased the awareness about this topic in our city, and it also created chances, like joining the national program against loneliness was one of them, and we also received extra money from the national government because during the pandemic, social isolation was also a big topic. And we also realized that it made a lot of energy, realized a lot of energy in the cities. Many people are really helpful with regards to the topic of loneliness. So voluntary organizations have ideas, residents have ideas, they are involved with each other. Another factor of working together in a European setting with other project partners was that we could develop questionnaires together. So, and we shared ideas. So one of the ideas to share the questionnaires door to door and bringing them personally, and it created an opportunity to have a good conversation with residents. And so it gave us as professionals insights in what really was going on in the neighborhood, what they found important. So it might seem like an obvious one, but it really helps and is really a good one to just do it. We also saw that residents who became involved in our project also were involved citizens, and they we spoke to them, and lots of times they were also able to take ownership. They wanted to take ownership. So we always sought for those residents who had some energy and wanted to be of meaning for someone else. And those were the people we asked to be like an ambassador for the project. And some of them still are in the working groups. You saw in the movie with in the community center or the working group in the Pittelose Park. They exist of involved residents who actually also participate a lot in the neighborhood. And the last one, we were always searching for forms to entice residents to participate, such as the ice creams you saw in the movie, or cooking together, or facilitating talents in the community center. We always search for the energy and for the enthusiasm. So it's really custom work from our point of view and human work. Then I would like to point out some activities, like for instance the online session, which we started with in 2020. They were online because of the pandemic. And it was really hard. So sometimes we got a lot of complaints, and it was really hard to not react on only the complaints, because we wanted to get a step further. And the residents weren't always ready to make that step. They wanted us to listen. So it was a really good practice for us to listen really carefully to their stories and what they had to say, what they found important. So presence is an important issue. And in the winter, we didn't have many possibilities because of the pandemic to organize sessions. So we organized winter walks during the neighborhood, and we worked together with scientists, and they gave us methods to connect with people in certain ways. So this was one of the ways we learned from them, is to actually go into depth about their stories. What places do you like in your neighborhood? What is of importance? Can you share memories about places in the neighborhood you are proud of? This was a really important step in building trust in the neighborhood and actually getting to know our residents really well. And one time during one of the co-creation sessions we planned, we learned that there was no one who signed up for the session. And we sent the invitation in a really traditional way, so through email, and the familiar faces got them. And yeah, or actually was no one who was showing up who wanted to show up. So we didn't have any reactions to the invitation. So I think one of the strengths of our project is we work in an integral project team, existing from representatives from the welfare organization, but also housing corporation and the municipality. And we brainstormed together with the idea about how can we find a solution, because we want to connect with these residents. And one of them came up with a brilliant idea to share ice creams in the neighborhood near the supermarket. So it was a really sunny day, the day before the session, so we had lots of attention from all the residents in the neighborhood. And the next day, the room was loaded. Everyone came, a really diverse group of people, youngsters, elderly, people with different backgrounds. So we were really surprised that it worked out, and really proud, of course. And we learned that these kinds of activities helps us to make the connection and also hear the silent voices. And so last week or 2 weeks ago, we had another kind of meeting in the neighborhood. It was a breakfast with the board of the collaboration of Mijn Buurt Assen. And they wanted to get in contact with the neighborhoods, because this is really important for the collaboration Mijn Buurt Assen, to get to know the people where you're working for. So we decided to bring breakfast to the neighborhood, share croissants and coffee, and just ring the doorbells, just random, and see who opens up. And this led to really, really beautiful encounters with people you normally don't see. So the sessions we had, they also led to great ideas from the neighborhood, from the residents themselves. For instance, a walking route through the neighborhood, supported by street art, so people can also show how proud they are of their neighborhood. And the last thing is, I also think it's really important to don't make up all things yourself, because there are many, many best practices, good practices, where you can learn. And we also learned from each other in the project, from the other project partners, such as Join Us, Tell You 4, and so on. In 2023, we finished the I2I project, but we found it really important to keep the resilient and livable neighborhoods in Assen. So alongside this project, we also developed our neighborhood approach based on data, but also always in combination with the experiences, knowledge from residents, professionals, volunteers who are actually working in those neighborhoods. And this method we are working on, they determine the most impactful themes of the neighborhood and also where the energy is. So it's also a part of determining what to do in the neighborhood. And we build on this method, we build on what we already have, our fundament of neighborhood approach. And it exists out of 4 phases. The neighborhood profile, which consists of data collections to create a reference point in which we have numbers, but also the perceptions of the residents. The next step is the neighborhood analysis, because data require interpretation, and we do this together with our policymakers from all different domains, and also strategies from our partners. And it's really important because we speak different languages. So it is important to get to know each other and to get more into depth about what concepts we are talking about and what we mean by saying, for example, social cohesion, all sorts of things. People from ICT, they speak a really different language than the policymakers in our municipality. So it takes a lot of time to really understand each other. The third phase is forming the agenda for the neighborhood, which contains a vision for the long term, for 10 years in our case. And it's not only about social themes, but also about spatial issues. And the last phase, it's about forming an implementation plan in which the goals are made concrete. We form actions, we describe actions, how do we do things, with whom do we do it, and also what are the costs. So we make an overview of all the costs, and we talk to everyone who can deliver finances to realize this plan. So at this point, we are formulating our method description in Assen, and we hope to finalize it this winter. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for sharing the experiences. Czy są jakieś
doświadczeniami. Do we have any questions or comments? Here's one.
Thank you so much for this presentation, and I have a question. What we need to create such a safe space? Because I suspect that sometimes participants, these lonely people, are shy and feel uncomfortable and too insecure to start interact. So how to break the barriers to help them, and if such barriers arise, of course, but what we need to do to make them feel cared?
I think the most important thing which we experienced in our project is build trust, and it takes time. So we have our community workers, and we see each other every 2 weeks, and they share their knowledge about the neighborhood, about the people in the neighborhood, about their worries, about the people who they are worried about. So I think it's really important, and also the aspects I just mentioned before about having a recognizable community center, knowing that there's activities for them they like, not specifically loneliness, of course, because they won't come, but other activities, or being inviting and welcoming. And so it's really important also to have someone in the community center who is welcoming. If there are people in the center, and it's often the case also, and like the manager of the center don't see people coming in when they enter the center, or they don't say hello or how are you doing, come in. That's really important for people to feel welcome and to be seen, to be heard. I think this is one of the most important steps to realize to create a safe spot in the neighborhood.
Thank you so much.
Teraz w nawiązaniu do tego pytania.
And now, to follow up on that question,
podsumowania.
maybe a part of a summary. I know there is one more presentation, but I feel compelled to say one thing now. Yesterday, we spoke about the power of weak ties. That's an old concept from 1970s, a concept that says that people need not only powerful ties with our closest ones, our family members, we also need those weaker ties with people we barely know, but with people who are different than we are, because this builds generalized trust that gives us more courage to enter relationships that accompany projects like yours. And those weaker ties can be built when we have a venue where we can meet, where we will recognize one another. When we recognize other people, then it's easier to enter, to step inside our community center, and spoke about something a bit more serious than whether or how many kids you have, or how is your dog doing, because these conversations can take place in the street. And one thing that struck me in your presentation and in the Dublin story, namely that we need places that build those weak ties, but also we need places that build more powerful ties, such as theaters or small shops in Dublin. And these two types of spaces must interact. We need both of them. And this way we build soft relationships, but soft relationships are just a stepping stone towards something bigger. So that's it by way of my conclusions, a summary. Do you have more questions before we move on? If not, then thank you.
Dobrze, to no właśnie, niepotrzebnie się może tak rozgadałem, bo
Perhaps I shouldn't be talking so much because the next speaker will probably speak about these things. Ulrike, has anyone done
but I promise I won't make anything up just based on the bio and what you wrote about your description. Ulrike jest
Ja się tu trzymał twojej biografii. Ulrike is a manager of a cultural center in Leipzig, where she runs international projects. Before that, she was a journalist and an editor and a gold jeweler. And the title of the presentation is Culture and Education for and with all generations as an action against loneliness and isolation. Ulrike will talk about Grünau, a district in Leipzig. And Leipzig in general is a very interesting city, lots of interesting public policies. So feel free to ask anything about participation in Leipzig.
For the studying participation, also Mathai Kirchhoff quarter, for example. So please beware, there may be additional questions.
Thank you. So. Dzień dobry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly happy to be here in the beautiful city of Poznan, and I'm very grateful for the invitation to this Congress and for the excellent organization. Thank you so much. My lecture will address concrete examples of cultural projects that combat loneliness. I could summarize, I think, like everybody here, it in 2 minutes, but I also could talk about it for 2 days. Fortunately for you, I'm aware that the target is 30 minutes. If you're in agreement, I'd like to suggest the following course of action. First, we'll start with an overview of our socio-cultural center and multi-generational house, including what we do, who we do it for, and what our philosophy is. I believe that describing the challenges we face will make it easier to explain why we employ different methods. The focus of the lecture will be on our attitude and philosophy, the history of the creation of the new center, the challenges and opportunities in a socially disadvantaged area, our projects combating loneliness and social isolation. Our attitude, how and for whom we want to work, is deeply rooted in our organization's DNA. It determines our actions and guides us every day. Oops. Our program is about how we address social challenges in our city, creating spaces for encounters and participation with determination and creativity. You can develop with us integrative, intergenerational, and intercultural. We stand for equal opportunities, and we believe cultural education is the basis for living a self-determined, self-aware, and value-conscious life. That's why we facilitate cultural education by offering low-cost or free participation. Equal opportunities mean providing cultural education for everyone in a professional manner. However, people who are disappointed in education, regardless of age and background, require a different approach. We view our classification as a socio-cultural center as a quality label for cultural educational work that invites participation and is open for all. Our center is a place where people from all generations and backgrounds come together. It offers space for cross-disciplinary programs ranging from art and culture to educational and leisure activities. Our socio-cultural center, Haus Steinstraße, has been a recognized non-profit organization providing independent youth welfare service since 1990, and it is institutionally supported by the Leipzig Cultural Office. One of the core activities of our association is the implementation of cultural and educational programs for children, young people, seniors, and families. These include courses and projects in theater, dance, music, painting, graphics, printing, ceramics, crafts, construction, media, and political education. Our year-round cultural projects focus on themes that are explored across workshops and through courses, school projects, events and holiday programs, inviting participation from all age groups. In recent years, our international projects have involved partners from Poland, Italy, Bosnia-Herzegovina, England, the Czech Republic, and Ethiopia. A particularly important aspect of our center is accessibility. We aim to ensure that everyone, regardless of physical or social barriers, can become part of our community. We were originally based in the more affluent southern suburb. However, it was impossible to convert. Oh, I'm too quickly, maybe. No, it's our house. It wasn't impossible to convert our building to be fully accessible. At this point, we faced a crossroads. We didn't want to compromise our philosophy of accessibility for all, but the location didn't align with this value. We decided that if we were to leave our beautiful villa, we would move to an area where we were needed even more. Moving to a socially disadvantaged area was a deliberate choice. Leipzig West and Leipzig East interested us because of the significant social needs there. But where exactly should we continue our work? Do you know the joke about the man who comes out of the train station and gets into the taxi? You know? The man comes out of the train station and gets to a taxi. The driver asks him, "Where do you want to go?" The man replies, "Wherever, I'm needed everywhere." That's exactly how we felt. Finding a suitable property was challenging. With the city's rapid development, we wanted to avoid becoming dependent on profit-driven real estate. Therefore, it was clear we needed a public landlord, and we focused on the west of Leipzig, specifically the Grünau district. Grünau is often described as a social hotspot or a repository for the failed. In the 1990s, the district had a poor reputation, which still lingers today. Reports highlight a concentration of poverty, unemployment, and social problems. Some of the key statistics include life satisfaction below 50%, political engagement less than 25%, low educational achievement 30 to 40%, truancy, that means the children who not like the school, 20 to 25%. Restrictions on leisure activities due to lack of money, 40%. Experienced discrimination, 10 to 20%. Cannabis use, 20 to 40%. Speech problems among school beginners, 50% and plus. Unemployment, 8%. Recipients of educational assistance, 50% plus. Recipients of social assistance, 25% plus. Child poverty, 30% plus. School dropouts, every year, 30% plus. There's also an above average proportion of people over 65, a high youth crime rate in some areas, and an increasing potential for conflict due to the influx of people with refugee or migration backgrounds. Despite the negative headlines, Grünau has seen positive developments. It's also one of the most extensively researched urban areas worldwide, with a long-term study tracking its development since 1979, offering valuable insights into resident social and physiological circumstances. And we wanted to work in this district, which is the size of a medium-sized town with 57,000 inhabitants. Eventually, we found a 110-year-old park in the middle of one of East Germany's largest prefabricated housing areas. Here, we found empty old villas and castle. Empty. After discussions with the head mayor, who said, your idea to create in this park community center and culture center, it's crazy, but doable. And with the approval of the city council and authorities, we were able to start our project. Our move to the west of Leipzig to Robert Koch Park initially caused concern among our team. The district was primarily known for the negative media headlines, but we began developing a socio-spatially oriented concept. As our topic centers around combating loneliness, here are some facts from Germany and Saxony. Research shows that poverty, poor education, and health and psychological problems often lead to loneliness, which can make people ill, desperate, and be life-threatening. An alarming statistic. In 2023, 10,304 people took their own lives in Germany. Saxony-Anhalt had the highest suicide rates at 17 suicides per 100,000 inhabitants. The suicide rate is increasing, especially among older people. For those over 85, it's a shocking 41 per 100,000. Our concept, combating loneliness. Against this backdrop, we developed a social special concept to counter loneliness and support people in difficult life situations. We run numerous cultural and educational projects, specifically aimed at combating loneliness. Here are a few examples. The Office for Wish Fulfillment. Founded in Leipzig-Grünau in 2018, this creative social project encourages people to express their personal wishes and, where possible, realize them. It fosters social participation, connects people, and strengthens the sense of community by making individual dreams and needs visible. The project has been well received in Leipzig-Grünau as it bridges different population groups and encourages active participation in the community. You can see here a child with a poster, and on the poster you can read, "I don't like people with alcohol bottles on my playground, and please put your rubbish to the rubbish." So that was a wish, for example, from a child. Second, Café Kreativ. This cafe offers an informal space for people to meet, exchange ideas, and participate in activities such as crafts, art, or games. It promotes contact between generations and cultures, fostering a sense of community. The transition to creative workshops is intentional, with offerings such as painting or theater workshops, allowing people to express themselves artistically while making social connects. Third, City in the City, a holiday project. City in the City is a summer holiday project where children and young people build their own mini-town. This encourages creativity, teamwork, and social interaction. No, it doesn't work. You have a hangout? No. The project unites various social-cultural centers in Leipzig. Within just a few years, it has become the largest holiday play project, engaging up to 2,000 children each year. Yeah, we have a problem. Maybe I should say that every child without money come completely free to this holiday game. And we have per day around about 20, 50 or 300 children. It's a lot, yes. But we have around about 80 to 120 adults to help. And most of these adults, of the helpers, of the supporters, are freelancers, are free. They come in their holidays, and or they are unemployers or students. So. And the children create, for example, houses by themselves, but they can do everything. Only the children decide what they would like to do, and we as adults, we are only supporters, not more. The children can construction their own house, but not the adults. So, you can see some constructions. Now you can see a movie. And the music is a self-composition from the children, of course. This project is completely barrier-free for the supporters and for the children too. Conclusion and outlook. These projects meet community needs and increase public acceptance. They help people This is our new place in the park. They help people feel less isolated and offer opportunities to make new connections and contribute to their community. Our commitment in Leipzig West is dear to our hearts. It demonstrates that social change is possible when we have the courage to take new, uncharted paths. We aim to continue growing, initiating new projects, and together with a community make the district a more livable place. I think I have 5 pictures more. This is a boathouse, and we would like to develop to a green classroom, for example. And the crazy thing is that in the very poor area, with so a lot of inhabitants, there is this park, and it was a forgotten park. Can you imagine this? It's unbelievable. So, and we gave the inhabitants a lot possibilities to create this park, this community center, this culture center with their own ideas, for example. So, dziękuję bardzo, and thank you very much for your attention.
Czy ktoś ma jakieś pytania do Ulrike?
Would anyone like to ask Ulrike questions?
So maybe I have like a quick comment to maybe we'll find it interesting to address, because I found it striking that we are talking about Leipzig, and before we talked about Dublin, so also residential areas that a lot of us might think that the best days for those cities are gone, because, for example, Leipzig was once 700,000 inhabitants, I guess, and also this residential area that you work close by is also associated rather with the Eastern Soviet-alike type of history of Leipzig. So I find it interesting that we spoke a lot today about the necessity to work against isolation and loneliness in the areas that may look as declining. So if you would like to address also this, the question would be, what are the specifics of working with loneliness in Leipzig that maybe won't be the same in Berlin, Frankfurt am Main, and similar cities?
Yes, I think it is so important to create a public place, because poor people have not much possibilities to come together. Or, for example, you are poor, you are living in a very, very small flat. You can't make sport in this flat. You can't give a lot of people, give an invitation, for example. You are very alone in this small room. And to create with the inhabitants, a public room can create more possibilities for them to come together. And the other examples from the other cities show this is the right way. We have we have to give interesting offers, but offers which the people would like to do. Not over them, not to think, I know what is good for you. No, we have to ask them, and this is very successful.
So once again, thank you very much for your lovely speech.
There's one more item on the agenda, and it is summary, which I will try to do efficiently. You will not hear anything that has not been spoken in the last 2 days, but I have decided to write down things that came in the various presentations. And of course, if you want to join me in the summary, you are more than welcome. We started yesterday, but also today we have said many times that loneliness and solitude are not synonymous. They are two different things. Solitude is something that makes you want to cut off from your environment. Is something great. It's just an opportunity to be with yourself, or as Monika Bakker said yesterday, to find out who you actually are and what you want to do in 5 minutes' time or in a few years' time. But loneliness is more about feeling isolated or abandoned. As we could see in the case of Dublin, entire cities or entire districts could feel isolated. I think this is also true of Poland. There are depopulated cities in our country. We have also talked about the negative results of loneliness and lack of opportunities for solitude. This is something that Ulrike has just told us about, being crammed in 2 small flats, and the negative effects of loneliness and poor opportunities for solitude are actually the same, and they include health reasons and mental health, physical or mental health reasons. And when we do not have someone around who could help us, our physical and our mental health are affected. And this is related to depression and to fears, different fears or anxieties following the pandemic, as it has been noted here. Fortunately, there has been a discourse on mental problems and the mental results of loneliness and inability of solitude in a city and social rejection. And there's the concept of a vicious circle of isolation. If we are not prone to build relations, that prevents us from actually being in relations. And this shows that what we need is not only good architecture or willingness, but sometimes we need support from institutions like the ones that we have seen presented today. Yesterday and today we talked about the social costs of the negative results of loneliness and poor opportunities for solitude. In a social perspective, this stands for less resilience, social resilience, and it has been said here today very clearly that fortunately there are ways of combating these problems. And we have presented several tools here. We talked a lot about art as an indication that art can turn things round, that it can add other value, and there is silence as a tool, but also through different performances we can encourage people to get together. Architecture, well-designed art architecture can also support people's need for social interaction, not enforced interaction that we talked about yesterday and today. And during this first speech today, we heard about the social infrastructure playing a key role, but we should not fetishize it, because, mind you, in Leipzig, that park had existed for a long time together with the palace, but what the community needed was not new infrastructure, but a program that would fill the existing infrastructure, which shows that sometimes we can show to city authorities that investments are not the thing to do things. We need to top investments with institutions that can maintain these investments and fill them with life. And also the idea of care blocks should be noted here. We have been talking for years about the social problems that cities are going to face outnumber the number of institutions that we can afford to maintain. So social care institutions will not really support, or not only support people in their specific situations, but also they will support local communities to tackle their problems with reference to ideas like the care blocks and artistic innovations that we have heard about today, and resulting in the culture of proximity. And this is an opportunity for tackling challenges better, but it can also create a barrier that was also presented here with reference to the dancing project. And it seems that we are in a place where we can see that the problem will not fix itself, that it is not enough to use the social potential. Silence has the potential, and silence, when chosen, when silence is a thing of choice, can be a very positive phenomenon, and it is part of a capital that we can either pay for or not, and we need this public good wealth that should be equally distributed in the city, so that it does not become luxury. Another risk that was touched upon both yesterday and today, it's the kind of thinking that loneliness, that solitude is something positive, but loneliness is something negative. And these are things that, as humans, we experience them in the same way. They are very close to our bodies, our emotions, but this is not true. We live in multicultural societies of people with different neurological needs and capabilities, and we cannot really think that we all experience solitude and loneliness in the same way, because this is not true. And last but not least, I would like to recall two pictures. One of them was an example from Dublin, presented today. Yesterday, it was the former football stadium in Poznan. What struck me is that these two structures look very much the same. Yesterday, we talked about a dilapidated football stadium, and today we talked about a dilapidated theater in Dublin, and look at how differently we talked about. One of them, the football stadium, we were quite enthusiastic about the fact that nature and plants and trees took over the place, and the theater discussed today was presented with a sad note. So these are some different imageries that we may have. Nothing is carved in stone. Nothing is totally totally bad or totally good. And another thing that struck me today is that we are in a place where we are witnessing an exchange of city framework. It's not creativity that seems to solve our problems, but it is care that allows us to see better and to address the challenges related to our well-being. Many issues that we have discussed today, gentrification, cultural education, access to parks, to space, to public services, exclusion, these are not new things. We have been discussing them for years, but it seems that we are starting to understand fully their sense because we can interpret them through solitude and loneliness. It's not about discussing them only with reference to solitude and loneliness, but it seems that when we use this framework of this forum, we will be able to face better the challenges that we have been facing for a long time. We can at least understand them. And in my last sentence, I would like to say that, and I hope that I can say on behalf of everyone here, I would like to thank all the speakers today and yesterday, but also I would like to thank the audience here in the room and online, people who have joined our discussion. I would also like to the people who are less visible but equally important, which contribute to this meeting, and that is the team from the Poznan Town Hall, but also people who have been interpreting here what has been said here. They have interpreted it into the sign language, into English, from English, and people who have taken care of the technical side of the event and who supported us when we had some technical crisis. So thank you for that, and I'm sure that we will meet next year at another city development forum, and it's been a real pleasure to moderate this meeting. Thank you very much. Well, the room is yours, so if you want to join the speakers or if you want to talk, just go ahead.
Mm-hmm.